standing in honor of our veterans that have served our country and continue to serve our country both home and abroad? Thank you. Clerk will call the roll.
Councilor Anderson. Bucci. Christensen.
Here.
Condon.
Here.
DePietro.
Here.
Fallon. Kinnon. Murphy. Nestor.
Here.
Spatafora.
Here.
Lucy.
Here. If I can remind everybody to turn off their cell phones or put them on vibrate, and I don't see any hats on anybody, so we'll leave that one alone. First order of business.
Paper number 380, tabled until this meeting, public hearing regarding classification of property and residential exemption for fiscal year 2012.
On Councilor Nestor's motion to take paper number 389 from the table, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? On Councilor Nestor's motion, oh no. Oh, Bob Donnelly's here, right? If we could hear from Assessor Bob Donnelly.
Good evening, gentlemen. We continued this last week because the Department of Revenue had not yet certified our values for fiscal 2012. That was taken care of this morning, so we are set to go. I think we touched on most of what needed to be said. There is no real difference in the values or anything else. That was that information given to you last week is accurate. I don't know if there are any comments or questions from any of you on the council or from anybody in the audience, but I would be glad to try and answer anything that any question anybody has.
Okay, Councilor Kinnon.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Donnelly. I just want to get back to, what is the recommendation? Is the recommendation not going to 30%?
Well, there are two prongs here.
Okay.
One is the residential factor, which we are requesting goes in at 0.871839, and that is based on a residential exemption of 20%.
And there was and this is for a point of clarification, Mr. President, I'm not sure really who to ask, but there was some question as to whether the council could just go to 30% on their own last week. That was not clear to me.
Okay.
I think Councilor Christensen asked it, and I think he asked it of the clerk?
Yes. Yep.
Do you want me to answer, or do you want? Okay. You're the man.
Councilor Christensen.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, during the past week, I looked further into the issue we spoke about last session with our city clerk, and indeed, the way the language reads at the state level, it is technically a proposal that comes from the executive branch, and then the council acts. So
the council can't raise this on their own?
correct. I mean, I suppose you could always resolve it, you know, but technically the way the state law reads is that executive proposes, we dispose on that piece when it comes to the residential exemption. And we actually confirmed that as well. One other piece of information is we did have a conference call with the City of Somerville Assessor's Office, who, as you know, has gone to 30%. And they did confirm for us from their vantage point that, you know, for whatever reason, we just didn't catch that over the past few years. Not that it mattered, because the executive branch just signed on to what we had proposed. But technically...
So do we have to go back now to the state to get that done again if we want to go to 30%?
No. I think what would happen is, you know, pending tonight's outcome, next year, the executive branch, you know, would submit a proposal on where the rate would be. The other thing that, you know, the City of Somerville did suggest is that when they were able to increase their exemption, it was at a point where it was 6 months before, this type of hearing occurred. So they had, a lot of time to work out whatever kinks there may have been by going from a jump of 20 to 30. They suggested to us, that we have a similar type process. Now that we have it, really go inside the numbers, determine whether or not, there would be any impact, but that's an aside. I think the crux of the point is that, we're really limited in terms of us increasing the exemption and the administration, doing anything with it. And there have been indications from the administration. I think they too are, I don't want to speak for the mayor, but I think, based on us just having it approved and, them not having the comfort level that, yes, all the kinks have been worked out and we can go straight to 30 tonight, that I don't know if they would be willing to sign off on it as well. So that's what became of our conference call with the city of Somerville last week.
Did the city of Somerville have kinks?
No. Once, looking back, they did not have any kinks. It's been in place now for several years. They're quite pleased with it.
And we didn't have any kinks going from 10 to 20?
No.
If I might, though, we did it in steps, number one. Number two, we have a new software system that we're just not sure of at this point. This will be the first real trial for it. And if you try doing something at this hour, if there is any kink in the system, it'd be magnified greatly by going to 30%. So I would request that, I know that you'd like to do it, I know you're going to do it at some point, but to avoid having any problems going in, we really should give the Treasurer's Office time to make sure that our softwares are communicating properly and that their system is ready to handle whatever comes its way.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Kinnon. Councilor Murphy.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Just a point of clarification, if I may address Councilor Christensen. When you had said the city of Somerville did it 6 months prior, I guess I'm just a little unsure. Does that mean that if we started now, we could do something in July, or do we have to wait until next January?
Yeah, what Somerville did is their legislation, just by pure coincidence, it was approved 6 months prior to the setting of the tax rate in December.
Okay.
So they had like 6 months of lead time, according to them, to make sure that, they were able to use, all the information that they had to make sure that the program would work. I too agree with, Councilor Kinnon, in a perfect world, I think we should go to 30, but I'm also, trying to give due deference to the assessor and the administration who are saying that, based on the changes in the software package that we have, based on, we just had the bill passed, I think, within the past month or so, that they want to take a real strong look to make sure that there is no negative ramifications by us, going right to 30. So, that's what I meant when I said, Somerville had a different vantage point because they had it approved, about 6 months prior to setting the tax rate.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Murphy. Councilor Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Help me understand. The 6 months that Somerville had that we have not had, why is it that we are here at and there may be a very good reason, so I guess I'm looking, I haven't heard your response yet as to why it is that 2 weeks before the end of the fiscal year, we are now just getting the option of voting this or not. Why didn't we have the same lead time that Somerville had?
The legislation was only passed by the state a month ago.
A month ago, okay.
Yeah, signed by the state and the governor.
Okay, so a month ago, we had the approval from the state to go to 30%, correct?
Yep.
Okay, but we're only seeing this now, so you're saying that there wasn't enough lead time a month ago to have implemented 30%? Is that what I'm hearing as your explanation?
Well, what Somerville did and what they were talking about is that they had time to set up these scenarios in their computers.
Okay.
And run test bills and go back and check and make sure that everything worked properly, including that they caught any bill that by either the residential exemption alone or by the residential exemption coupled with another exemption.
Okay, so I guess I'm asking...
Would take the tax bill under 10%, which you can't do.
So why weren't we able to do that? Even though it was just approved by the state a month ago, we made the request longer. I mean, we could have been running tests in the event that we got the home rule approved, correct? Or am I not correct? I guess I'm looking...
Well, I suppose you could, but I mean, the Treasurer's Office has been quite busy this year. They've been chasing back taxes and all of the other problems that have been there. And this is new software that they're still learning how to use. So I don't believe that they actually had the time to run all of these scenarios through and to see how it was working.
Okay, well, I would think that the citizens of Malden are going to be happy to hear that we didn't go to 30% because we weren't sure of the software, and maybe there just wasn't enough time, but that explanation didn't seem to sit well with me. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Anderson. Councilor Cronin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I guess I'll ask you the obvious question. Will the bills be out before the first of the year in the mail so that we can start collecting our taxes?
If this body takes the votes tonight and allows us to file electronically tomorrow morning with the state for everything, we should have our bills out on time. DOR has indicated that they would look at these pretty much as soon as we get them in. We are hoping that we will have an approval on the rates by Friday, which would give us enough time to have the bills generated and mailed before the end of the month.
Because it would be disastrous if they're not out.
Yes,
I think we all know that.
Yes.
So I think it's very, very important that we get those bills out. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Cronin. Any lights? Okay, see no lights. We have two separate papers on the that we're voting on tonight, two finance papers. So clerk will call the first one.
The first paper is number 389, that the city adopt a residential factor for the FY 2012 property tax rate, and the proposed factor is .871839.
Again, Councilor Nessa's motion to adopt a residential factor of .0871839. Clerk will call the roll.
Councilor Anderson. Yes. Bucci. Christensen.
Yes.
Condon. Yes. DePietro.
Yes.
Kinnon.
Yes.
Murphy. Yes. Nestor. Yes. Spatafola.
Yes.
Lucy.
Yes. Paper carries.
Paper number 390 is that the city adopt a residential exemption for FY 2012 property taxes, and the proposed exemption is 20%.
On Councilor Nessa's motion to adopt a residential factor of 20%. Clerk will call the roll.
Councilor Anderson. Yes. Bucci. Yes. Christensen.
Yes.
Condon.
Yes.
DePietro.
Yes.
Kinnon.
Yes.
Murphy. Yes. Nestor. Yes. Spatafola.
Yes.
Lucy.
Yes. Paper carries.
Thank you.
Bucci. Yeah. Yeah. The reappointment of clerk of committees for 2012.
On Council Connor's motion to open nominations for clerk of committee for 2012, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Council Connor.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I'd like to place Sheila Famano's name in nomination from the final time from her Ward 2 councilor.
Move closed nominations?
On Councilor Ennis's motion to close nominations, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? On Council Connor's motion to nominate, to appoint Sheila Famano, clerk of committees, clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Anderson.
Yes.
Bucci. Christensen.
Yes.
Condon.
Yes.
DePietro.
Yes.
Kinnon.
Yes.
Murphy.
Yes.
Nestor. Spatafora. Lucy.
Yes. Congratulations, Sheila. Okay, at this point, I just want to mix it up a little bit. I know the mayor's here. I often thought, to my left, Council Condon has put 26 years into the city council. I believe he's the longest-serving city council in the history of Malden. I think he's been only the president of the council once, which I find it hard to believe. So at this point, I think it's only right that on Paul's last meeting that he conducts the rest of the meeting from the chair, so I'd like to relinquish my chair and let Paul come over and sit here. And first thing you can do, the mayor's been very patiently, so you can bring him up. So I'd like to give it over to Paul.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I'd hear a motion to bring up our Mayor Howard. All those in favor? Aye. Come. All rise.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Where am I here?
I had mentioned in presenting the budget message this year for fiscal year 2012 that we would come down mid-year, provide some information on some of the initiatives that were contained. I know you have a brief agenda this evening, and I do not want to kind of regurgitate the points that are in the memorandum that I've supplied tonight, kind of on my way out the door. So I'll let the memo speak for itself. And Mr. Ranigan has also attached one of the documents that I've referenced in the memorandum pertaining to the operations of the financial offices, the treasurer and the controller. So again, it's a somewhat voluminous document. It's very good reading, and I think it's a great initiative, so I'll leave that for your reading as well. I really did want to come down and say, through this body, thank you to all of you for the great 16 years that I've had to serve as mayor of the community. Many of you have served over multiple terms for many of those 16 years. And when I say through you, for any of your colleagues that are listening, you know, by extension, I want to thank all of the councilors that has served on this body in the various terms that have existed over my 16 years of service. Last night I got the great opportunity to thank the school committee members. We had our my last school committee meeting last evening here. It's been an absolute honor and a pleasure for me to be able to serve in this position and the role. You know, you don't get this kind of opportunity too often to serve in your own hometown in the office of the chief executive, and to do it for 16 years, you know, it's a little bit beyond the average shelf life for a mayor, especially in urban areas in and around Boston. But it's been a great personal experience for me, and I'll always appreciate the level of collaboration that I have had with this body in particular. Mr. Lucy has noted the great service of Councilor Condon that, you know, extends beyond all of us that serve here, and he's been a real constant, a real rock for my entire 16 years as mayor. and there are others as well, but Paul in particular has been there for the whole time and beyond. And again, through the council, thank you to all of the employees. Sheila as your clerk, every clerk and every employee that works in this office, all the department heads, all the people in the various departments that carry out the mission of services to Malden citizens every day, be it in any particular department, police, fire, DPW, schools, especially, et cetera, and to the citizens as well that have allowed me to have the joy of being able to say it's my honor and my privilege wherever I went, whether it was in this community to, a variety of nonprofit group meetings throughout the Commonwealth, to be able to use those words and say, as mayor of the city of Malden, appearing somewhere has been, as I said, a true privilege and an honor for me. So I thank you all. I wish the new administration, the Mayor-elect Christensen, tremendous good luck. I don't think he'll need a lot of good luck because I know he'll provide a lot of hard work, and that usually, in combination with a little bit of luck, trumps just having luck alone. So, and I believe the council establishment is a great one for the community. I know that there are tremendous leaders here, as the case exists for the school committee as well. So I think, based upon what's in the memo, what we've been able to do over the last handful of years especially, I think the community's in a good spot. So I'll leave it at that, and again, just say thank you very much for a great 16 years. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Stay right there, Mr. Mayor. I have a light. Councilor Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mayor Howard, I've had the privilege of serving with 4 mayors. I go back to Mayor Fallon, Conway, Lucy, and Howard, spanning back a number of years, having an opportunity to see different styles of those who are in leadership, and I have to say that it's been certainly a real pleasure working with you here as a councilor, seeing the way that you have handled your 16 years. I think it's a real credit to our city, and we've seen the results. Your creativity, you've been efficient and effective in moving this city forward. I think we're all very proud of where the city has gone over these number of years, and you've been at the helm, and I just want to say, as one councilor, how much I've appreciated seeing what you've done. Want to wish you the best in your future endeavor. I think Winchester is the better of having picked up the experience that you've gained here and being able to move Winchester in the right direction. So good luck to you. Thank you for your great service. Thank you for all that you've done, and happy holiday to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Next, I have Council President Greg Lucy.
Thank you. I'd like to chime in too, Mayor. I've had the privilege of serving with you also on the school committee, so, over the last 10 years, it's certainly been a privilege. I've seen a side of you that probably a lot of people in the public haven't seen you, but I've seen you in different meetings and how your thought process goes, and I've always been really impressed. And, I just want to wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and good luck in Winchester.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next, I have Councilor Bucci from Ward 8.
Thank you. I, too, want to just say thank you, Mayor Howard. When I started about 9.5, 10 years ago, I wasn't quite sure what I was venturing into. Certainly knew I just wanted to do some good work on behalf of the community. And, your mentoring and coaching during the time that I, too, as Councilor Lucy was on the school committee was really critical for me to really grasp the understanding of budget issues, and you obviously had given me a sense of responsibility during those years that I think has helped me, or at least prepared me for this particular role. But as Councilor Lucy states, working with you directly, it's definitely different. It's a different conversation, and I don't think many of the folks in the city actually have that advantage that we do. I definitely want to thank you personally as a resident. I've raised my family here. I know that my children have gone through the school systems. I have family that are here doing this very same thing. And I think your attention to the educational corner of Malden, very specifically around the Malden Public Schools, I greatly have, I really do think. One day, I think you and I were sitting in your office, and I said, I think one of the many things I'll remember you for is that attention that you put towards the education of kids. And again, there's a long list of work you've done over the last 16 years, but more importantly, I think you helped craft me a little bit in my thinking in terms of having the time and giving me the time when I think I needed it most. So I do really want to say thank you.
Very nice.
And I, too, am looking forward to what may be a nice sense of change for Winchester, and I think, they're going to have a real nice time working with you as well. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, Councilor Bucci. Next, we have Mayor-elect Gary Christensen.
Thank you, Mr. President. And as you can imagine, Mr. Mayor, this is full circle for me. It was 12 years ago that you plucked me out of the community and, gave me the confidence to be on the school committee. And, it seems like yesterday. So this is, very emotional for me. You gave me my start. You gave me a chance to prove myself. And, that is what life is all about. So I first want to say thank you, and besides giving me the opportunity, you also taught me quite a few lessons on the way. I can still remember on the school committee when I came in all hemped up that I was going to block the approval of the minutes, and you pulled me aside and you said, you might want to pick and choose your battles. And then the other time when I thought I would alter the school calendar, for the first time in the city's history, and you said, you better check with Mr. Minnie on this one. I don't need to do that. This is a great idea. It's going to go over great. And then I opened the doors to the chamber, and every pastor, rabbi, preacher was in this building. So, it was you that really gave me some invaluable lessons on the school committee. And then, when it was, my time for the city council, you also stuck with me through thick and thin there as well. I still remember in 2008 as council president, you said, one thing you always want to remember, develop relationships, work with people, despite whether or not you might agree. You always keep that in the back of your mind. So, 12 years later, I've been, following your advice, and it's something that, I'll always appreciate. And can already tell this is going to be a big adjustment. The first assignment you gave me last week, I completely blundered when you said, listen, stand in for me. Why don't you, do the tree lighting ceremony? It sounds pretty innocuous enough. And then when I got up there and, said a few words and waved, wonderful holiday season to everyone, Ted Coates quickly reminded me, you forgot to light the tree. So, so I have a ways to go. But, the one thing that people used to say, that I was Mayor Howard Part 2 and I was the sequel, and, so you won't be going far in essence, because what you have taught me will, carry me forward. So, I just want to end by how I began, which is really, thanking you for giving me the opportunity, and I in turn hope to do that for the next, generational leaders. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. City will be better for it. You're going to be a great mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor-elect. Next, we have Councilor Murphy.
Mr. President. Mayor, I would just like to thank you for the words of wisdom that you've given me as the newest counselor up here on the stage, so we say, over the last 2 years. They have really helped me find my place and my space in this illustrious group, and want to wish you the best as you move forward in your new venture, and thank you so much for the time that you've spent with me, giving me a level set that will help me represent the citizens of Malden. Happy holidays to you and your family, sir.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councilor. Next, we have Councilor Kinnon.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President, I guess. I would just like to say that I've been with you since the beginning, 17 years, almost. Worked with you for you for a number of years, sometimes against you, since I've been on the city council. But I know when people look back, and sometimes, particularly when you're in difficult economic times, people have a different view. But as time goes by and people look back on the history of your tenure as mayor here in the city of Malden, they will know that you are a great mayor. I mean that with all sincerity. That you had a mission and a vision when you came into office. And what often makes people succeed in those things is the ability to stick to those missions and those visions through thick and thin when people think it's popular or not popular. So for that, as a citizen who loves this community dearly, and I know you do just as much, and probably everybody on the council, but thank you very much for what you've done, and I wish you and your family the best. And I think Winchester really does make out on this deal. So, thank you, Richard.
Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Next, we have Councilor DePietro.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, I was hoping to get one more click out of you, but that wasn't in the cards. But I think your legacy is going to speak for itself, and you'll truly go down as the best mayor Malden has ever seen.
Thank you.
So I wish you the best of luck in your future. Thank you. It's a pleasure working with you.
Thank you, Councilor DePietro. Next, we have Councilor Nestor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Mayor, just wanted to personally thank you for all your help over the past 4 years. You've always had an open-door policy for me, and I truly appreciate that. It's been a pleasure working for you, and I just wish you the best. I'm not sure much more I can add to what's already been said, but no, I appreciate everything you've done for me in the last 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Same here.
Thank you, Councilor. Next, we have Councilor Ladd Spatafora.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Mayor, not to be repetitive, but I'll say I think what everybody's thinking is, boy, we're going to miss you. It's no disrespect to the new mayor, believe me, it's not. But I think the people out there don't realize how difficult that job is and how easy you make it seem. And, I've talked about this